Jungkook's POV. I woke up early again today, hoping to catch up with Taehyung. Lately, he's been getting to school before me, so I've been trying to time my mornings better. But once again, I didn't make it. I sighed, knowing I'd have to walk to school alone. I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling in my stomach as I walked. My thoughts drifted to my outfit. My uncle had insisted on picking it out for me, and now I was regretting it. The pants were too tight, totally unlike my usual comfortable, loose clothing. I hate wearing anything that draws attention, and right now it felt like I was dressed for a fashion show. But I shook off the feeling. Why should I care what people think? As long as I'm dressed, that's all that matters. When I arrived at the school gates, something felt off. People were staring at me, more than usual. Why? I stopped and glanced behind me, but no one was there. Confused, I quickly checked my face for any dirt or smudges. Nothing. Is there a new transfer student? Wow, he's hot. I've never seen him around before. Does he have a boyfriend? I heard the whispers around me, and before I could process it, someone bumped into me. Sorry, pretty boy. A voice interrupted my thoughts, and I turned to see Yugyeom standing in front of me. He had his hand outstretched, but I ignored it and stood up on my own. Hi, pretty boy. Are you new here? Yugyeom said with a smile that I knew all too well. Here we go again. Dare part 2? Am I the target once more? What do you want this time? I asked. My irritation was clear. I'd never forget how he used to mock me and Taehyung. And now he had the audacity to act like nothing happened. Yugyeom's grin widened, and he studied my face carefully, his eyes narrowing in surprise. Jungkook, he stammered. Isn't it obvious? I replied sarcastically. Without waiting for a response, I turned on my heel and walked away, searching for Taehyung. Everyone was acting strange today. As I walked through the halls, I noticed that even the teachers were giving me odd looks. Did they not recognize me? How was that possible? I'd only changed my clothes for one day, and suddenly it was like they'd forgotten what I looked like. You're looking really good today, Jungkook. Seriously, everyone on campus is talking about you, Lisa, our class president, said as she passed by with a grin. Wait, what? Eventually, I found Taehyung. He immediately apologized for snapping at me the other day, though his apology was half-hearted. It didn't seem like he meant to hurt me. Things quickly returned to how they usually were. Him cold and quiet, me trying to keep the conversation going. Days passed, and I noticed something had shifted. People weren't hurling insults at me anymore. I realized it was because of my new appearance. I no longer looked like the nerd they used to mock. Instead, people were flirting with me, like I'd suddenly become interesting just because I dressed up. It was ridiculous. Even Yugyeom, who had broken up with Bam Bam, was now asking for another chance with me. But I knew better. I could never forget how he cheated on me and used me in the past. I'll never forget how you betrayed me, I told him, turning to leave. But just as I was about to walk away, I felt Yugyeom grab my wrist, pulling me back. I stared at him in shock as he suddenly leaned in and kissed me. My eyes widened, and I noticed one of his friends nearby, snapping a picture with their phone. Furious, I pushed Yugyeom away and slapped him across the face. What the hell is your problem? I shouted, glaring at him. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? He yelled back. You'd rather be with that blind guy? I'm way better than him. Can't you see I've changed for you? I stopped in my tracks, turning slowly to face him, my eyes narrowing. Changed? Do you even know what that means? I asked, my voice low. You think you can win me back with a fake apology and some new clothes? You want to know why I like him and not you? He has a heart, Yugyeom. You don't. I like him for who he is, not what he looks like. You underestimate him because he's blind. That's exactly why I like him. Because he sees more than you ever could. You? You're just a pretty face with nothing behind it. You cheated on me. You used me. That's why I'll never choose you. I didn't wait for his response. I walked away, heading toward the bench where Taehyung usually sat. I was carrying the lunchbox I had packed for him, wondering if he had eaten yet. It made me sad to think he might be skipping meals again. As I sat down, deep in thought, someone covered my eyes from behind. I smiled, immediately recognizing the playful gesture. Jimin! I shouted, pulling his hands away. I missed you, he said excitedly as we hugged, laughing together. It had been so long since I'd seen him, and I couldn't hide how happy I was to have him back. The next day, I walked into school feeling excited. Jimin was finally back, and I couldn't wait to hang out with him again. I hadn't caught up with Taehyung that morning, but I wasn't too worried. I figured I'd ask him later why he'd been absent the day before. As soon as I entered the gate, Jimin rushed toward me. Kook, I thought you and Yugyeom broke up. Why didn't you tell me? I just got back, and the whole campus knows, but I'm the last one to find out, he asked, sounding hurt. I blinked in confusion. We did break up. What are you talking about? Jimin pointed at his phone, showing me a photo of Yugyeom and me kissing from the day before. My stomach dropped. I quickly explained the entire situation to him, and his face darkened with anger. I'm going to kill him, Jimin fumed, grabbing a nearby dustpan and waving it like a weapon. The janitor looked startled as Jimin almost snatched it out of his hands. I hurriedly calmed Jimin down, convincing him to report Yugyeom's actions to the principal instead. On our way to the principal's office, I spotted Taehyung walking by. Jimin, can you go ahead without me? I need to talk to Taehyung, I said. Jimin nodded and headed off while I followed Taehyung. Taehyung, I called. But he ignored me, his face set in stone. What happened yesterday? Why were you absent? I asked, catching up to him. He remained silent, walking faster. Are you feeling sick? I reached out to touch his forehead, and it was burning hot. You have a fever. You need to rest. Stop it. He pushed my hand away, his tone sharp. Taehyung, please. Let's go to the clinic. Why are you always like this? He snapped, his voice filled with frustration. Why are you so annoying? I stared at him, stunned. Did I do something wrong? Is this about the photo with Yugyeom? I didn't do anything. I don't care about that. He interrupted me, his voice rising. I just want you to leave me alone. Why are you always so close? Our eyes met for the first time, and for a moment, all I saw in his gaze was emptiness. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding. Because I like you, Taehyung. I have feelings for you. His face was unreadable as he replied, But I don't like you. The words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I forced myself to smile. That's okay. I just wanted you to know how I feel. Why? He asked quietly. Why do you like me? Because I choose to, I said, my voice trembling slightly. Even though I know you don't feel the same, I still like you. But why don't you like me? He hesitated, and then his voice was so soft I barely heard it. Because I like your best friend, Jimin. And that's when the tears finally fell.